This week in comic books, we got the Unstoppable Doom Patrol, and I keep feeling like we're rehashing some things in it, and I kind of want to talk about it and show you a few things that's kind of weird to me. Over in the lands of Marvel, we get Strange Academy and the big battle that finally happened. A pretty nifty little lesson in it, too. I'm going to spend a minute on that one. And in the lands of Independence, we get the High Republic, the Star Wars book. And I have a question. Is it a sci fi book or is it a fantasy book? Or does it even matter? I don't know. That and a few other comic books, but first, please allow me to try to sell you some coffee. Please.
Cheers. How you doing today? Hmm. Coffee brand coffee. Very good. Must say. Go get yourself some.
All right, so definitely check out Coffee Brand Coffee. Link down below. Use my promo code and save yourself some cash if you see anything that you like in there. Let's jump into it. I got a small haul this week, so let's see what I did pick up. I got the Unstoppable Doom Patrol by DC. It was my only DC book this week, unfortunately. I got to the comic book store a little late, so it's what happened. But in this one, we finally made the connection. This one, pretty solid connection with the whole Lazarus planet um, crisis that happened, right? And why everybody's kind of got meta powers now. And this is kind of the link to it. And Doom Patrol's role in this whole thing, the aftermath of it, is to go rescue these mutated beings and bring them into their own fold. And of course, Suicide Squad's going to have a problem with this. So they send in a spy. And they send in this character. I swear this character is familiar to me. And I can't think of that's. Yep. Okay, so the character's name is Worm, right? So that's super different. Oh, maybe, maybe not. But regardless, he kind of gets sent in as a spy. But aha, there's a twist because the Suicide Squad always has a plan. Uh, he finds out he really likes the Doom Patrol people and he really doesn't want to spy on them. So they throw him up in the air, and of course, Suicide Squad, of course, launches a little chip in the back of his brain, and this poor kid just explodes in the air. Like I was like, damn, that's kind of rough, right? But of course, at Suicide Squad HQ and always having a plan, it wasn't really him. It was his little worm that lived inside of him named Velvet, and it's weird. But again, I always say, regardless of this kind of play on characters that they're doing, it's still original. It's still a fresh story. I'm not making fun of it in any way, but I am gonna say it's weird. It's the only way to describe these particular Doom Patrol ones. So I don't know. I'm going to follow this down a little bit more. Let's see where it goes to. By the way, the Doom Patrol's new underground headquarters is about probably the most blandest thing I've seen in comic book art. It's like all the rooms are the same. Everything's it's weird. So definitely, I recommend it, but I don't know. This is going to be one of those ones that's going to kind of give it a few more issues, and we'll see where this thing's actually going to take us. Next, we got Guardians of the Galaxy going into Marvel, and we got the Bane of Blastar. If you don't know, Blastar's first appearance was in Fantastic Four number 62. Really cool character. Shoots lasers at his feet. He's all pew, 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 right? It's pretty cool. But in this one, kind of the main story here, Blastar just being in it is just kind of, they just need a mean villain. This is really kind of focusing on Nova and his kind of role in there, right? The writer, right? Writer Nova. Writer Nova. We'll go with that. He's kind of a member of this Galaxy of the Guardians team, and really we're kind of focused on him kind of being a hothead and doing his own thing and not really working well with the team, right? Which I think is odd with him being part of the Nova Corps, right? You'd think there'd be a structure, but he does his own thing. And him having to kind of, hey, I need to rely on my team. I can't make my own decisions. And of course, ultimately defeating the big bad guy at the end of it. It was an okay story for a one shot. I'm kind of glad that they're not chasing this down very much. If they do, they really got to step up the story in it. This was pretty a baseline story, like a lot of dialogue in it. And I get it. You kind of have to explain to people certain things. I don't know. If they go down this road and they decide to have a mini series of these or 12 issues of it or whatever the case may be, I just don't know how much on board I'm going to be with that. Because again, it's this constant just work with the team. No, I'm going to jump ahead and recon it all out. And I'm just going to do this. And it's just like, get the ADD under control already. You work with the team. Just, you don't have to do it all by yourself with a team. That's the beauty of a team. So yeah, pretty interesting. All right, in this one, we got Clobbering Time. The Thing. This was, I hate to say this, but I'm really kind of slowly liking this. In this one, we work with Wolverine. Thing is over on Krakoa, and he's doing like a TED's talk or the Actors Guild type thing where he's on a stage answering questions. And of course, there's the usual thing that you see when people go to events at universities and talk. There's always some jerks that are like, you don't relate to me. We're really not the same. Oh, you're just a fascist. Why people are selling. Like, it was weird. It was weird. I get why they threw it in there. It wasn't done in a virtue way. It was kind of, I'm going to say, a little tongue-to-cheek type of thing. But anyway, our character comes back, our little time-jumping, warping kind of guy. He comes back, and he actually has a name now. Now, I'm not really sure how to pronounce this name. I want to say Ogdu. Ogdu. This is how it's spelled. I'm not sure how I would pronounce that. It's weird. Ogdo. You see where I'm going with this, right? It's kind of weird. Anyway, we find out he's from some far future thing, and he's not just a bad guy, which is weird. He is a guy that actually loved all the superheroes from our particular time frame that we kind of read in the comic books, has them tattooed all over his body, like it's his thing. He looked like a NASCAR, just sponsored by superheroes, where everything was just tattooed on him. Takes care of Wolverine pretty quick, which I thought was kind of weird. Like, it was just like, he just like shot him with something, just melted his skin, he's laid there as a skeleton. If it was that easy, right, that would have already been done. I think it's been done. I'm almost positive. Anyway, so we also kind of get a peek into his little portal world where he's from, and apparently, and I don't know how he figured this out, but the Thing recognized that he's making a bomb. To me, it just looked like a pile of machinery, huge pile of machinery, but he's like, oh, you're building a bomb. Now, the next issue is going to deal with Doctor Strange, because apparently this character, Ogdu, I'm going to go with Ogdu on it. I'm still going with Ogdu on it. Has like various things. So he's like super smart, can build robots, the whole 9 yards. But then he also has this kind of attachment to mystical items and magic too. So the next issue dealing with Doctor Strange, we'll get a little bit more of this. This is just a time thing where he's just kind of jumping in and out, not really sure what time frame he's in. So why go to Krakoa, right? Well, apparently they have some juicy juice there that they love to drink, an ambrosia, and he's using it as a lubricant. And I was like, the DIY guy in me is just like, that makes no sense. But it's so silly in the artwork, and it is so fun. I can almost look past it and just enjoy it for what it is. And I think that was probably the most important thing for it. Because Thing books really aren't, like, they're just kind of a, I hate to say this, but they're kind of usually just a throwaway book whenever he has his own little solo titles. So it's kind of good to see that they're having some fun with this and making it interesting at the same time. So I'm going to keep following this down a little bit farther. Next, Strange Academy. All right, let's have a chit chat. So, big battle breaks out, right? Doyle, right? Dormammu's son. And Emily, who Dormammu is helping destroy the Strange Academy, right? They kind of go at it. And what this is it's so interesting. I don't know why I didn't pick up on this before. I feel silly for not doing it. This is all about chaos. This is what this whole story is about. Remember, Doyle, throughout the story, was always conflicted with being the son of a villain. You know, is he predetermined to be the villain? And this caused a lot of chaos in his life. And Emily was kind of the anchoring stone, you know, the anchor of love, right? He loved her. And then all of a sudden she turns evil and bad, but she only did that after he gave her a piece of himself to save her. And with that in her, she became horrible and evil and wants to destroy everything. And is a little bit of a hypocrite. And just all the things you would expect from a villain, right? So what does he have to do? He has to take that back from her, right? To end the chaos. And of course she dies. Nobody dies in comic books. We already know. She's going to be back in some way, shape, or form. I don't think the fans of this series really want to see Emily go away. I don't know. So what are we really looking at here? Sometimes when you give somebody your time, energy, effort, their attention, whatever the case may be. Sometimes the trade-off is you give them these things and they give you nothing but chaos back into your life and cause just unprecedented amounts of trouble, pain, and just ridicule, whatever the case may be. So sometimes you need to take that stuff back to let that relationship die. And I think that's a beautiful sentiment in this book. It sounds rough, right? Because then you get to play the what if game. Well, what if it's my lover or my husband or what if? The truth is, the relationship's supposed to be mutually bonding together in some way, shape, or form. And if nobody else has nothing else to give you than chaos and problems in your life, it's not a relationship. That's just chaos. And you need to walk away from that sometimes. Take what is yours back and go. Right? And I want to be clear on this next part. I'm not talking about that whole MGTOW thing. I'm not men go their own way thing. I'm not a MGTOW guy. I've been married for 25 years. My wife won't let me be MGTOW. But I am saying, you just got to. It does nothing for you but cause troubles in your life. And I think that was a powerful message. I hope I'm looking at that correctly. If I'm not, definitely let me know in the comments down below. Am I looking too deep into this one? It seems like that would be the case because she's been nothing but a problem and chaos in Doyle's life, along with the rest of the academy as well. I don't know. It's interesting though. All right, next, Hulk 14. So I got on board with this one, and I'll tell you why I picked this one up in a minute. And I think I dropped after 3 issues. I halfway expected them to go with this really cool concept, and nope, they just literally made Hulk a spaceship traveling through time and space and just hulking out. But this one had something interesting, and a little bird whispered in my ear and told me I may want to pick this one up because at the end of this, we may be getting our Immortal Hulk back because they showed the green door and a particular character coming out of the green door to grab something to take back to the place below. I don't know. Guys, do you remember Immortal Hulk? How fun was that read? Like, there was some minor arcs here and there I really didn't care about. But for the most part, that was a solid running comic book. And we may be getting it back. And I hope we do. That would be awesome. So, yeah, that's the only reason why I picked this up. Oh, and the fact that we already know that cover. It's Scotty Young cover. And, when the wife wants Scotty Young, she gets Scotty Young. So, but it was kind of cool seeing that. All right, next. We're going to jump right into Independence. We got Star Wars, The High Republic. I have not been picking up too much High Republic books. So I read this, and I was like, wait a second. And then I read it again, right? So basically the story here is we have a Jedi, and he's trying to find some mystical woo-woo stones. So he goes to the ultra super high-tech library that they have on their planet. Remember, it's Star Wars. Keep it in mind. Technically, this is sci-fi, right? But we'll get into that. And then he reads a story about a Jedi Master and his apprentice going off to find this thing called the Echo Stone in this particular world, but things aren't what they appear to be, right? That kind of thing. And the Force is magic, so there's magical woo-woo stuff going on. They retrieve the stone, whatever. So then the guy in the library, the Jedi in the library, is like, hey, it's the stones. We need to find the magical stones, the magical woo-woo stones, right? And I'm reading this, I'm like, why? This just doesn't fit. Like, this doesn't feel like Star Wars to me. And then it dawned on me, this is a fantasy story. Like, make one of the kids an elf in it, and, a guy who's really good with a bow and arrow, and, it's medieval times, and they're riding horses. The only difference being is that Star Wars characters have cooler swords. Now, is that a criticism of the book? I'm going to say, yeah. Oh, to Star Wars fans right now, I just heard you hit the caps lock button. You're about to tell me some stuff, but hear me out for a second. When you want a sci-fi story, right, you kind of want more techie type talk. You don't want to rely so much on magic, right? So, like, the turbo boosters are malfunctioning. We're getting ready to crash land, blah, right? Instead of magical woo-woo stone in a cave, let's ride across the ocean to get there. They did that. And I was just like, this doesn't fit. Like, it kind of takes you out of a genre and it just didn't fit for me. I think that's fair. Like, it wasn't bad story. It just didn't read like a sci-fi story. It wasn't real techy. I mean, yeah, they had the spaceship to get someplace, and they tried to explain the magic away by using tech talk, but we all know at this point that it's just a MacGuffin for magic, right? So I don't know. I haven't been reading High Republic, so I couldn't tell you if all the other High Republic stuff out there is kind of along this basis. I know this one shot right here was, which is another thing that threw me off. Why was this a one shot? Does anybody, like, it seems like there's more story to this, or there should be more story to this. Like, that's weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. That happens. I get it. I can't stay on top of every comic book. All right, next, the Blue Book. I've been loving Blue Book. So if the first story in this is always a continuation story of the Halls. They were abducted by aliens, supposedly abducted, allegedly abducted by aliens. And because I don't know if it's true or not. And now we get into the whole part of their story where they kind of went under hypnosis and they kind of had, memories resurface of their actual abduction and more details about what happened to them. Do I believe the story, right? We should just go ahead and cut to the chase. Do I believe the story? It's a good story. I enjoy a good story, whether it's real or whether it's fake. So let me start with that. I don't believe this happened, and I don't believe in hypnosis bringing up regressed memories and stuff like that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that you can go under hypnosis and remember a past life or any of that. It's a belief thing. Everybody should believe their own thing. I get it. And I'm not going to try to convince anybody on the whys why it can't be or why it could be. It's not really my place. Believe what you want to believe. But I don't know. Hypnosis, the whole point of hypnosis is to put somebody in a vulnerable state, right? To convince them to do something, right? So you convince somebody to cluck like a chicken, or you're going into something with something that's already troubling you, and that's the thing you're supposed to focus on as you go into a more suggestible rest, right? I don't know. I think just about anything could pop up, and as far as regression dreams from past lives and stuff, just to hit that real quick, I've never noticed any stories that I've read where anybody was just like a cow farmer and just died of old age. Right? It's always something. I know of at least 4 that I can catch on YouTube where the person was regressing back into their memory states. And all 4 of them were Abraham Lincoln. And I'm just like, somebody's not telling the truth, right? Like, that's, right? Like, oh. And I kind of looked at, when I look at that kind of stuff, I kind of look at also on the other flip of the coin when we talk about these alien abductions and being in that vulnerable state of rest where you're kind of almost lucid dreaming and you already think something has happened. I think that might play some part in it. But am I right? I don't know. Like, we just don't know, right? Also, it's also been known that, you purposely pick people for hypnosis that kind of play along with the act, right? So, I don't know. This is a rough one. Do you believe in hypnotism? What do you think about this? This is just as much your channel as it is mine. Definitely let me know if there's something that you think I should read about this particular subject. I'm fascinated by this stuff. Definitely let me know down below. Link something or hit me up in a DM. This is one of those things that I will go down a rabbit hole for about 4 days and just look at different stuff to see if I can figure something out. See if I can be amazed. All right, last but definitely not least, and it is my pick of the week. And if you saw this book, you already knew that I've been ranting and raving about this book and not getting enough credit, and that's Vanish #6. I love this story. And this one, we get a lot of more of those gap, where we have a gap knowledge of what happened in this. We find out Vanish himself, at one point, killed the bad guy in the magical world, right? But he killed him with like a 9mm. He's like, straight capped him, right? Something he learned on a field trip to our Earth. Just throw that out there. So he's been kind of dealing with killing this guy and being the hero and everything. But then we find out in this one, it was actually his girlfriend the entire time that magically guided the bullet into the bad guy's face. And she did this because he had to be the hero, right? That was his role, chosen one, right? That kind of thing. A grittier Harry Potter is what I keep referencing this to. We also find out the relationship between the villain and his kind of like second in charge guy in the magical world too, and what that relationship looks like. And it just looks like some really cool stuff is about to happen in this. And I've just been absolutely enjoying this. You're at issue 6 now. I don't know how easy this is to get out there. Again, I don't recommend books lightly. I really don't. But if you can't find them, I'm sure Comixology or something has it. Whatever your main source is. I don't know. If you're a viewer of my channel and we agree on a lot of the same things that we like and don't like, man, and you're not reading this, you may very well be missing out. I feel like I should send them try to get an affiliate link from them. Be like, hey, I'll promote your book, but I want $2 for every click. All right, guys. So that's my haul and reviews. Like I said, it was a short one. I got to the comic book store a little bit late, so I missed a lot of I really wanted the Green Arrow, and I wanted a few other things. But luckily, a lot of you out there have comic book shows that I get to watch. With that said, also don't forget the Comic Book Community Awards. The voting's going to be opening soon. I'm going to link a link down below. Definitely go support your favorite YouTuber there. Let people know who you watch, and definitely vote for them. They also got some merch store there with some t-shirts and stuff if you want to support the actual program itself. It's not cheap making awards for people. It's shipping them out and getting people together. So, if nothing else, definitely go on in there and vote for your favorite YouTuber that does comic book content and just nerds out with you. Also, before I go, we got the Evil Layer projects coming out on this one. I had to alter the project at the end. We had to do something a little different, but that's going to be hitting up this week. So definitely, if you're not a subscriber over at the Evil Layer projects and builds, we made a rocket. We made rockets, several of them, using powdered sugar, because MacGyver. So definitely, yeah, check that out. If you like people making things and you want to see some cool rocketry happen in a weird way, because again, I had to change it last minute, that's there as well. All right, guys, I got nothing else. I'm going to get out of here. Y'all have a good day. Bye.